I think that humankind is waking up to the fact that ocean is there. And I think that women will play a large role in it because there are all those issues that span ideas from society to actual engineering, but engineering is what's going to get it there.
In general, I thought I was going to study whales and dolphins, and I'm studying, computer models of the ocean instead. So, you don't know what you're going to do when you start out. And it really, I think it's this, networking that gets you to where you want to be and where you need to be and where you'll probably stay forever.
I am a professor at Northeastern University in the Electrical and Computer Engineering department.
I'm currently a research scientist is my official title, but I do ocean modeling at the University of Southern Mississippi.
I started as the WE liaison, and from there served on ADCOM for a long time, doing various things, serving on XCOM.
I'm working at the Institute of Industrial Science, the University of Tokyo.
So a problem was presented to me that was related to ocean engineering as part of my graduate school studies. And it's really the math side of the problem that probably bought my soul and kept me there. Ocean Engineering Society and that community at large is a very loving community. It's like home.
I'm one of those that I knew I wanted to do engineering, and I knew I wanted to do something with the ocean, and I actually started marine engineering and then ended up in learning oceanography and instrumentation, and that's what I do now. I love it because of the breadth of the disciplines involved to master doing work in the ocean. You got to know everything. That's been a lot of fun. So that's what keeps me in ocean engineering. I had kept the same job for 3 decades. And when things started getting a little rocky in that area, I was really glad I had another professional home, essentially.
But the first thing I said is I'm going to go to Australia and I'm going to study oceanography. And my parents were like, we don't want you to go to Australia because it's on the other side of the planet. So I said, okay. And I went to South Carolina and I started oceanography. And I was managing an island with sea turtles, right? A sea turtle island for the University of South Carolina, Pritchard's Island, for not quite 8 months. And then I finally got this job in Woods Hole, which was like the holy grail, right? And what I really found in Woods Hole was Marina Martini and John Warner, who really mentored me and helped me sort of figure out what I wanted to be.
For me, ocean engineering, maybe ocean is very wide, very huge area. So there are so many topics and new seas and needs. So when I visit Oceans Conference or AUB or UT or some symposium and workshops, I usually want to find new things. I was involved into OES by my supervisor. And then I was involved into the many international conferences, and everything is new. And just wondering. But I have so many curiosity to have the new knowledges and.
I always knew I wanted to have some connection or get involved with a professional society, a professional organization. Then I noticed the IEEE had a lot more information that was more pertinent to what I was doing at the time. And I just found it very valuable, and I just kept doing it.
The way that I learned about OES is through Marina. So she passed the torch along to me, right? And I think at the time she was the WE liaison. And she basically said, you should really join the society. I think you would like it, right? And that was all it took, because Marina was basically my mentor, and she was sort of, making me think about things, right? Because the things that I hadn't thought about at all, right? The things about like, what do you actually want to do with your career? What do you want to get out of your career, right? What are you expecting, right? And you can't get any of those things without thinking about them and planning for them. So she got me thinking about that, and OES was part of that, right?
I was a student member of IEEE when I went to graduate school, because sooner or later it becomes apparent that it's a nice thing to be the IEEE member. But what I remember about OES is that I went to my first Oceans conference in 1992. And that sealed the deal.
I think that WE does a really good job of making people feel like they belong and showing them that there are people like you, people who are women, right, who are doing this and are succeeding, right? And so I know that several of you have been involved in these WE panels, and the WE panels are now, that was something that we started a couple years back, right? And I've kept after it, and now we've got at this coming Oceans, this virtual Oceans, we've got 2 WE panels. There's like a WE panel, and there's a WE like a workshop or something, and then they're also going to do a showing of Picture a Scientist, right? On top of that, we're letting young women see other women, right, in these positions, and I think that has to go all the way down, right? You have to reach out to not just your college age students, but younger than that, right? We've got to get to the high school students. We have to get to the elementary school students. They all have to see that there are women in engineering, right?
I went to the Merchant Marine Academy, and before you go to sea for a year in the midst of your education, and before they send the cadets out, they give them an orientation lecture, and literally the guy said to us, don't wear perfume because it makes men's blood boil. And so when I read that about the clothing, particularly since the dress code was not sent out, they did it at the last minute when people were already on board and had what they had to wear. But that's just not right. And so I'm scratching my head when I hear this. I'm going, has anything changed in 30 years?
A bit different environment we have in Japan compared with the USA or other countries. We have still very few number of ocean engineering women in Japan, in Tokyo. And as you mentioned, we have very few women students in OS chapter, very huge women in Japan.
Great progress has been made thanks to guys like you.
I had a lot of students asking me. I guess I know a lot of students. But, in general, they would say things like, I want to go into oceanography, or I want to go into ocean science, and what should I study? But I'm like, if you really want an exciting career that is going to continue to grow your entire life, you should head towards ocean engineering, right? It really is constantly evolving. There's so much that's going on, and you can get involved in things like AUVs and drones, right? And all this stuff it's not going away, it's growing, right? You're constantly learning new things, it's constantly expanding, right? I really think that's, ocean engineering and in general physics and engineering is that field, right?
If I had it to do over again, I wish I had just dropped everything and gone for the robotics, because what's going on now, that's beginning to explode. It's always been around my entire career, but now it is really coming into its fore, I would say, as an industry in a way that that's going to be impactful in so many ways.
The OES to be maybe the place of the exchange of the many fields, scientist, engineer, biologist, or geologists, or student, researchers, engineers. I want to have such a place, keep such a place as OES member.
I think that if you're an engineer, if you work with engineers, if you want to work with engineers, right, that you can be a member, right? As long as you're working in the discipline of ocean science, or even, any kind of water science, right? That we want you, and we're open to you, and you can get a lot out of networking with this group of people, right? And you might actually find yourself sucked in, right? You may not be an ocean engineer now, but you will be before you leave.
Why OES? You need a professional home. What's great about this professional home is the diversity of disciplines, diversity of nationalities. I mean, it really is a global place. And if you look at the population in the society now, it's pretty amazing. And that's been one of the most satisfying things for me, is meeting people from across the globe. If you're looking to get involved with something, as Melissa said, this is a wonderful, warm community. Get involved.
I like the diversity of disciplines thing the best. Maybe you don't know what you want. Maybe you're just going shopping. So come and see, and you'll like it and you'll stay.
You can do land robotics, but the minute you put something in the water, it becomes like going to outer space. I would say there's more in common between the robotics of space and the robotics of the ocean, and I still think the ocean is a harder problem. So if you want the challenge, ocean engineering is it.